All right, good afternoon. How's everybody today? Good. How are you? Good. All right. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Kristina Hansen. I am an instructional designer for the Office of Distance Learning. As many of you know, I used to be over there, and now Nicole and I moved down the hall. So we are right before the bridge for the G building. If you're in the G building, you just passed us. So if you need to see us, we're right over there. So this session is going to talk about digital inclusion and promoting digital equity through accessibility, and where we're going to kind of discuss what we can as instructors do to make this equitable with regards to teaching online using Blackboard, as well as using tools such as Canva and its PDF editor, which is free. You don't need Canva Pro for. So we're going to go into that, and then we're going to have some hands-on exercises where you can follow through, and I also have links to handouts as well. So, all right, so we'll get started. So, quick overview of digital accessibility. So basically, it's sort of an expanded reach. It makes your content available to a wider audience by creating content and services as well that can be used by everybody. And our goal, has always been accessibility from the start. So it should be the default, not the exception, kind of thing. So and there's improved user experience for that, as we'll get into it. There's all these benefits that are central to why, even if there are no special needs or nobody has any impairments in your course, you should do this by default. So, all right. So, like I said, expanded reach. So the wider audience and people with a variety of disabilities that were using these when using different devices such as tablets, mobile, we can incorporate those kind of equitable approaches, and even smart TVs. So by making it accessible by default, you're allowing your content to be consumed on multiple types of devices. So the user experience is improved with ease of navigation, contrast, keeping that in mind, and this is and it's across the board. It benefits all users. So basically, we're trying to come up with an approach and a set of best practices to kind of promote that accessibility initiative. Legal and ethical compliance, right? There's a federal mandate for default accessibility by default. WCAG 2 guidelines that are being enforced more strictly, and organizations, not just schools, but even like businesses can meet legal requirements. So that way, getting that out of the way to begin with, instead of it being brought to your attention, after the fact, is definitely a benefit, because, you do this by default, you do it to start, and then, it's smooth sailing from there. So, and, if you are a web designer or graphic designer, or, any, even like e-commerce, search engine optimization, if your site is accessible, and I mean, even if it's like on Etsy or something, you're selling, like having an alt text on your image, it proves the algorithm having your stuff over there. Search if you're like a contractor that is creating courses, if you're creating online courses, as a freelancer. Enhanced SEO if you want people to find your stuff. our objectives today, we're going to apply the what are the basic accessibility principles using, mainly we're going to focus on Canva and Blackboard Alley. How many of you have used either of the two? Yeah?
A little bit of Canva.
You've used it?
A little bit of Canva.
A little bit of Canva? How do you like it?
I thought it was pretty cool. It was pretty
Yeah.
intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
So I used it to create just some handouts and things like that. So
Yeah.
it seems to be getting more popular as well. So.
Mm-hmm. And the one thing, you know, I do like, I do everything from documents to these presentations in it. And sometimes people are like, well, I find that intimidating because there's so much content and I don't have a creative bone in my body and I'm not into aesthetics. And I'm like, actually, with the big library of ready-made stuff, that is actually a benefit because you don't have to create everything from scratch like you would on Illustrator, you know, or any of the Adobe Creative Suite. So Blackboard Alley, we're also going to go into and run an accessibility check on on one of my sandbox courses, and we're going to kind of explore the interface of that. Then we're also going to identify what is the correct method for kind of exporting designs as properly tagged. We're going to have a sample, I made a sample PDF document where I didn't do anything to it, and we're going to give it headings. We're going to kind of format it in a way that it's going to meet the accessibility standards. Then we're going to go into Blackboard Alley and see how we can identify issues and how to go about correcting them. Blackboard Alley is great at actually giving you a side panel of everything that's wrong with it, and some features, depending on what gets flagged, some of it you can fix it right then, so you don't have to find your file and edit it and then re-upload it. Some of it, you know, like giving your PDF a title, you can do that there. And we're also going to try to understand the digital accessibility and how important it is for creating a more inclusive and equitable environment for all learners. So let's kind of look at the two. You know, this is kind of what they, you know, it's not like one is better or worse than the other. They each have their own tools based on what you want to do with the content you're working with. You know, if you have a course in Blackboard, you're more than likely going to at some point use the Blackboard Alley. Especially right now, there is a campus-wide initiative to try to get your course at as close to 100% as possible. Nicole, are we still at 100%, or is it
95?
95 is like the bare minimum.
For 95.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and you know that is pretty generous because most of what gets flagged less than 100% is like contrast, which it's funny because in Ultra a lot of the italicized text is gray by default. And they tag it, it's like, well, that's your product, you know? So we're going to explore a little bit like how to circumvent that and how to adjust these things. So Canva, you can create anything from documents, infographics, to presentations, to even a web page. You can even import your domain on it. So, you know, and what you get is basically a document or a canvas that incorporates all these different layers of content. And when it comes to accessibility, it's very important to take that into account because you need for a to make something machine readable that has all these components and layers, you have to make sure it is structured for a screen reader to be able to basically decipher what's going on. And it's easier than you think. You don't have to visual formatting, such as most of it is deciding, you know, what is a heading and what is a paragraph. And I'll give you some pointers on that as well. Over here on Blackboard Alley, Mythology Now, it's fully integrated into LMS, and it's by default, so you don't have to do anything else. You don't have to install it or do anything. It's already there. We're going to go into it and show you, kind of give you a walkthrough. So it is not just Blackboard, it's also integrated into other platforms. And what it does is everything you upload, before you don't even have to do the accessibility, it already runs it. So it's working in the background as you're uploading course content. And what it does is it gives you an accessibility gauge where it's color-coded and it tells you exactly why you got that score and how to get it to up to speed. So as we stated before, it's very important that for the sake of expediency and equity, accessibility needs to be considered at the start of things. So analogy I like to use, like you're building a house. And, first you dig, if you have a basement, you lay a foundation, and so let's say, you got your nice front steps, and then and the house is almost done, and then you're like, oh, I need a wheelchair ramp. So, if you wait till the house is almost done to have your wheelchair ramp, it's going to create a lot more headaches for you down the road instead of incorporating that ramp in the beginning. You have to think about incline and all of that, and what about your homeowners association? How far is it going to be too far to the curb? Things of that nature. But it's I always like this analogy for kind of this is why it's important to get these things. It should be one of the first steps, not the last. So we're gonna first start with the components and principles. This is kind of, you can kind of see for both because both flag these, but Canva actually, these big three are what it stands for, and we're going to look at the accessibility. So it's important to use heading styles. So if you start a document and you say this is heading 4, and then you go into heading 1, it's not gonna like it because it needs to be in sequential and logical order. The other day, I had somebody, they're like, well, I have everything here, and what is going on? And it turns out they had a short paragraph before, they had seemingly had a title, but it wasn't really formatted as a title. It was just increased font size, and the increased font size is not accessible friendly. It's going to flag it. So all you got to do is just highlight it and press the H. Contrast. About 90% of what the images flagged by Blackboard especially is a contrast issue, which it's easily fixed. Whatever, if you have a program like Snagit, you can even do it in Canva. It has you screenshot it, and then you just copy and paste it, and then you go into the edit mode, and you can increase the contrast that way. And I'll show you how to do that as well. Alt text. Any images you add, when a machine is reading it, it's just going to see like a block that's just kind of like a void, in the whole system between paragraphs. So it doesn't know what to do with it, but it knows it's an image, but it doesn't know what the image is. So it's just going to say it does not have an alt text. And what alt text is, it's a brief description. It's short for alternative text. So as a screen reader reads it, it just tells you exactly what is it a picture of. If it's something like a logo, for example, if it's like the CTE logo, it could just be CTE logo. Or you can even, if it's something that's kind of all repeating on the page and it's not really an integral part of it, you can even put it as a background or as decorative. And that suffices with. All right. So first we're going to go into formatting PDFs for accessibility. So do you ever, when you save a PDF, I'll show you here in a second, you have the option to flatten the PDF. Do not do that. Because what that does is, remember all the layers we talked about. So it flattens everything and all the interactive elements, it does not distinguish It's just a static image layer, and more than likely it's going to it's basically you're running into the whole this PDF thinks it's a picture. So a flat image or PDF, it's basically scanning, you know, and it's non-semantic, presents all the elements. It's a single layer. It's you know, it does not have any of the dynamic layers like, you know, text or is this background, is this an image? It's not going to do that. So on a computer, it just sees it as a series of pixels. So text, you cannot highlight text on it. So you cannot even highlight to tag anything, you know, so you know, you can't even search. So you know how you know, in PDF, you say, you do the Control F, searches a PDF, it's going to make it very difficult. So for screen reader users, it basically, it's a blank. So, you know, because it compromises all the layers. So do not do that. So what a properly tagged PDF is, no matter what program you use, it usually contains similar approach. So you create a hierarchy of, you're telling the screen reader how to read it, you know, and this isn't just for devices that have screen readers built in. This is just, you know, it's going to flag it for, you know, if you flatten the PDF and then you put it in your Blackboard course, it's not going to like it and it's going to flag it for accessibility. So getting this out of the way in the beginning, it's one less thing for you to do. So a couple things. Tags. If it's a heading, if it's a paragraph, and everybody's least favorite, tables. I know it's my least favorite because it's a drag to, you know, to deal with. So these tags, they basically create a sequential structure for the document. You have lists, paragraphs, pointer, bulleted lists are very accessibility friendly. Using bulleted lists is one of the best things you can do on a document for accessibility. And it also, even if you don't need a screen reader, it's just very, you know, for people who kind of have trouble with like overload of text, or, you know, like whether it's with dyslexia or any of that, the bulleted lists help kind of organize it and helps them kind of organize their thoughts. So this kind of goes into reading order. For, you know, we talked about the logical sequence of screen readers and any kind of complex layouts. You know, if you have, I know last year I was editing a bunch of PDFs that were basically like life science mini magazines format. So it had imagery, it had table, it had figures, and all of those had to be tagged. I got to it, but it is, no matter how complex the layout, it is possible. So these tags, they allow you to kind of, you know, whoever uses assistive technologies, it allows them to kind of, it allows the program to understand and navigate the content. So what it will do, it will, as a heading, if you have it all in one paragraph, you know, let's just increase the font size, it's just going to ramble reading it. If you have the tags that designate the headings, it's going to say the heading, give it a quick pause, and then go into the paragraph or the subheading. So, and it's very important that that we have that.
Quick question.
Yeah.
So on the previous slide, you had the flattened PDFs.
Mm-hmm.
Is that default, or is that something that you would have, like you would have to intentionally, if I was saving some of this PDF, I'd have to flatten it myself?
Yeah, it's a checkbox.
What would be the, obviously we don't want to do that for accessibility purposes, right? What is the intention of that? Is it for like security purposes? If someone was trying to like add additional privacy to a document?
Usually it's to protect the document from, but I've never, or if it's just something like if you have it, you know, if you have an image, or if you want to flatten it for, I know some people you know, prefer to flatten it if So let's say you're working on a PDF and then you save it, and then when you open it, it feels kind of off, like, you know,
Yeah.
So sometimes they'll flatten it for that, for that purpose, but
Layout formatting kind of extra.
yeah. But yeah, if you don't want people highlighting and copying and pasting stuff, you would flatten it.
Got it.
Yeah. So, the big three. So if you go into Canva, you will see, I'll show you the interface here in a second. If you scan this QR code, you're going to get the full instructions for how to perform an accessibility check in Canva. So I'm going to open up the, so here. So we are, there's a file right here. Accessibility, check accessibility. And then, you know, I left some stuff on, yeah. Yep, I left some of the alt text, so that way I could show you the, these things. So, here. Okay, so as you see here, like I said, I left the pictures out, so for demonstration purposes. So it's saying there's no alt text, so this doesn't have it. These things don't. Now, I did use a template that had like some kind of extraneous, like decorative elements that weren't too distracting, but that kind of served no purpose outside of aesthetic. But I did that to demonstrate to you how to do the decorative one. So what you would do, you click, and then mark as decorative, and then that gets it out of the way. If you do need to add an alt text, you would add the alt text here. So, any questions so far? Okay, we're here. Okay. Yep. Okay.
Does it alt text get read by readers? It actually
Yeah, so when it reads it, it's going to read the alt text. Okay, so what quick exercise we're going to do, I'm going to demonstrate to you how to format. Okay, so here we have a kind of just like a random essay on that. So now let's do an exercise. So let's say you got this, you wrote this document, you know, it's set to go, you're ready to upload it, but you need an accessibility check. So what we're gonna do, and this I haven't touched, like there's a reason, because I'm gonna format it here. So what did this find? Well, oh, I made that yellow so it doesn't so it flags the contrast, but I guess it's contrasted enough because it's fine. So typography, I know what it's going to say because this is a 10-point font, and the standard for accessibility is 12. So save. So now we increase the font. As for heading, we do that. We click on the text. We're going to go to text styles. And since this is the title, we're going to format it as title. Everybody with me?
So where are you, you're in Canva right
Uh-huh.
now? So did you author that document in Canva or did you?
I copied and pasted it from Google Doc.
Could you upload the document?
Yeah.
Like if I did a Word document?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually what I'm going to download this, and then, because I also want to show you the Canva PDF editor, and I was going to download this to, let's see, download. Let's try to do this. Yeah, so this, if you're printing, this, for documents and emailing, for digital accessibility, you want to do the PDF standard. Okay, so what I mentioned before, the option for flattening the PDF. See, it's unchecked, and it should be. So for accessibility's sake, okay, so we're going to take this and download it because we haven't fully formatted yet, but I want to be able to upload it into the PDF editor in a little bit. Okay, so that one's downloaded. So now we have, as we go through here, this is clearly a heading or a subheading. So if it's a, you can do it a heading or a paragraph or a subheading for the paragraph. All right. So now that's a heading. And then we're going to do that a heading. And then if we click here, you're going to see that it's the document style. It should be under body. Sometimes if you do it like right before, right after a heading, it might flag it as subheading. And it's not really that big of a deal if it does because it is still sequential. So, but it's just a smaller font. So, but yeah. So for the sake of having 12.5, we're going to do the subheading for the paragraph. All right. All right, so we have that. And then we're going to change the color here. But apparently it was contrast enough. So. Okay, so now we're going to run the accessibility check again. See if we missed anything. Alt text. So I'm going to do alternative text. So you can say this logo. Or if you need to mark it as decorative, it could be here. And this can go either way. So I know one of the questions is, how do I know if I need to provide alt text or just have it as decorative? Well, if this does not in any way enhance the material outside of just providing like a visual or an aesthetic benefit, you can mark it as decorative. And it's just there as a placeholder. So we can actually mark it as decorative. If it's like a logo, you can maybe mark it once on the first page, the first time as a logo, and then you can mark the rest as decorative, especially if it occurs on each page. So that way the screen reader isn't like every page is like CTE logo, CTE logo. Horizontal lines, any kind of like section lines, those kind of things, those can be decorative. Anything, basically any kind of background. I know some you know, sometimes people will use like shapes, you know, in a document to kind of give it, you know, you can do that as a background as well. So, all right, so now it's going to say no issues remaining, and that's what you want to see. Okay, so this, we got the heading styles, we checked the color contrast, which I guess the yellow was enough, but we changed it anyway. And then we add alt text. All right, any questions so far?
So, for example, on this slide here, you have like kind of image icons. Would you consider this a list?
These will be decorative.
Right.
Yeah.
So if a reader was reading this, a screen reader, would it be reading this as a list? And when you mark something as decorative, does it say like image decorative, and then go to the text? Like, how does that?
Depending on the program, some just don't. They just skip it all.
Just ignore it.
Mm-hmm. Most just skip it altogether. So you don't have to say, you know, a circular figure with a sun icon.
Right.
You know, it doesn't screen cut. It doesn't.
Right.
But
will it say the word? Will it like actually say decorative? Like,
depending on the things, most of them don't say it anymore.
Okay.
Based on what I heard, they just skip it altogether.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So before we go, any questions on the PDF? And then towards the end, I'm gonna also upload the file that we downloaded. So, and so now let's move on to Blackboard Alley. So Blackboard Alley is has a visual gauge. Any content you upload, even the content that is like within Blackboard, like using the rich text editor. So it's typically going to give you this. In the rich text editor, when you do, if it's, let's say, alt text, the most common thing, you know, it'll do, because I've gotten a few questions about this, it's going to flag it as, let's say, like 93 to 98%. And they're like, well, I did designate the headings. I designated all of these, and what is it doing? But they skipped the line. They put a space between the headings. So I learned that Ultra does not like it when you do a space between the headings and the paragraphs. So, you know, do the heading, enter, and then do the paragraph. You don't need a space, because so it's basically, you know, it's going to yell at you saying it's, you know, there's unnecessary space between the paragraph. There's extra space. So that is one of the more common ones that, you know, even if you take the initiative, it's going to flag it. So these scores are critical in, you know, identifying like what needs to be done, why you got the score, and how to get it up to speed. So a little bit about the accessibility gauge. Ideally, we want to be here, but the bare minimum is 95. So, you know, that is to account for if the text wasn't, you know, graphite gray instead of pure black, you know, it's gonna take off. It's gonna ding points. So, you know, that's why we kind of gave a leeway, you know, to it being 95 being the bare minimum. And sometimes it's always fun to like do these documents, because, you know, you're like, you have 4% accessibility, but you can increase it to 93% if you just gave this giant image alt text. It's like, oh, okay. So sometimes it's faster than you think.
Are the percentages based on the number of suggested changes to make, or the category of them? So, for example, if I had a document and it say it gave me 60%, so like a medium score, right? Would that be based on how many suggestions it had, or the different types of suggestions? So if all of mine were like, say, I had no alt text whatsoever, but I had a bunch of images, versus, you know, one was alt text, one was color contrast, like, how does it weight that out? Is it based on the number of instances or the types of categories, or kind of both?
So what I've seen is it's based on the how many different kinds of issues it found, and how many, like, based on what the issues are. So usually, let's say if the contrast is the issue, it's usually you're going to get dinged like 5 percentage points, 5 to 7. If it's just a, like, this PDF needs a title, typically that's only, you know, like 2 to 4 percentage points. The alt text sometimes can add up quickly.
Okay.
If it's one image, but everything else is good, so the percentage, it kind of takes everything into account and just kind of weighs it, because, you know, it's going to weigh it differently. Let's say if you have a 10-page perfectly formatted document that has 2 images that don't have alt text, but instead of, you know, having 2 paragraphs and then having like 8 images without alt text. So it's definitely gonna, the latter is gonna be flagged more severely. But it's, so what are some common issues? So this is not in any order. It's just, so it doesn't have a title. I kind of try to go from like simplest to fix to the more complex ones, but the PDF title is a more descriptive and meaningful version of a file name. So one thing to keep in mind, do not give it the same name, the PDF title, the same name, the exact same name as you would do a file. So if, let's say, you have your syllabus and, you know, you say like CJA 280 syllabus, like fall 2025, you could just say, you know, CJA 280 syllabus, like F25 or something. So this all it has to be is 1 character difference. So it cannot be identical to the file name. All you just need is one character to differentiate. And alt text, which is the most common, one of the most common ones, it means it does not have an image description, or if it has not been designated as a decorative. So it has not been addressed at all. And what's good with Blackboard is, with alt text, it's going to, you can add them within there if it's on the rich text editor. With PDFs, it's going to be framed in red, and you have to find the file or download it. You have to find the file and then go ahead and fix it. So, insufficient contrast. So these things, you know, sometimes it's like, even if you have dark blue on pale yellow background, it might flag it as insufficient contrast. So I know we had a lot of images that are screenshots of Microsoft Office and Blackboard that were flagged for insufficient contrast, and we're like, well, it's a lot of the dark gray text. But what I usually did was I screenshotted it, and then any kind of photo editor that you have, you can even use the default one on your device. You would just increase the contrast, and that usually solves the problem. So headings that don't follow a logical order. I have found Ultra to be a big stickler about this. So even if you have a heading, it's going to tell you, well, now you don't have a title. So it's like, even if you have them, if you don't have enough spaces, or if let's say you have a subheading before you even introduce like heading 1, it's not going to like it. So for example, the H1, it's the highest you can use, and the H6 is the lowest. And below H6 is your body, your paragraph. Any questions on this so far? So here's the QR code for the full document, and you will get an email for this too. I will email this to you as well. So the step-by-step fixes usually you're going to go here on the details and actions, and then the accessibility report is going to be the first choice, and this is what you'll be looking at. And the first time it could be a little overwhelming because you'll be like, okay, well, what am I looking at here? Like I'm supposed to do. You would click on these, and I'm going to go into actually one of my sandbox courses. So where is so here's my sandbox course. So let's see. Do that. So that's what it gives me. Yeah, I kind of uploaded random stuff in here for the demo. So let's see. That's an image. So let's open up the image. So it's telling me this is what the checks look like. So this is at 75%. Contrast issues. It's the gray here, and it's the graying out here that is flagging it. Sometimes even if the main stuff is there, if you have anything that's like even a little subtle, it's going to flag it. So with this one, what you would do is just put it into any photo editor of your choice. Usually you can just screenshot it and increase the contrast, and then upload it, and it will have it at 100%. Any questions so far? Let's see. Let me find another one that's, oh, so those are all. Oh, so here's a PDF. Is it all right, macronutrient table. Well, it's a table, so it's going to yell at us. So it says it's untagged. This is one of the ones I was actually working on last year as part of the scientific ones I was doing. The one that's been tagged has been taken care of, but I kept this one just because I wanted something with a very low score, just to kind of give you a feel of. So you asked about how it calculates it. So PDF is untagged. So if you took this and it, how many of you here have Acrobat? Adobe Acrobat? No? Okay. So if you don't, no harm done, because you can use the Canva PDF editor. So, and I will show you that one in a minute. So if you tag the PDF, you're going to go from 5 to 93%. The ones I said about issues that we can fix here. So here's what I mean by that. If it has the blue highlight text that says fix here, that means you don't have to download it. You don't have to do anything. You can do it all like, in line. So you select the PDF language. English. Select your language, and then you will sure. And it did it at 10. So I don't think I put English on there, but it's just designating a language in itself that will do it. It does not have a title. It's going to give you 2 percentage points. So when you have a combination of where you have to download it and tag it, and then do this, I would do the download first and then re-upload it and do the fix here things. So PDF title, plant micronutrients. Or just that, for the sake of expediency. There, so now we're at 12%. So then, when we finish tagging it, we're going to have a full accessibility score. All right, so let's see. Let's try the PDF editor. So, and this will be in the resource. I did put this as a resource link in the presentation as well. So we would upload our PDF. I think I downloaded that essay too. So that one, yeah. Okay, so now we have this. So any PDF, even if it was made in Acrobat, you'll be able to upload it here, and this is what it's going to give you. One thing about what I like about the Canva PDF editor is that, especially when you're working with tables and figures, it removes a lot of like those, it's kind of like an invisible framing that's just kind of an extra layer, and sometimes it makes things clunky. So removing that and then just tagging the figure with alt text will fix it. So this is what the interface looks like. As you hover over and click, just like we did before, you'll be able to designate the text style. So subtitle. The first one you always want to have it designated as a title. And then, you know, this could be like your paragraph or you could do it as body and then just increase the text size. So that is the editor. Okay, so another one that Allie does is called alternative formats. In every course, there's this icon. Anytime you know, you open up, it's almost always there. So if you have this, you're gonna have, if you click it, and then this is gonna pop up, and this allows you to download in alternative formats, you know, for even like, so let's say you have a document, and you know, you're like, okay, but you know, they're having trouble with it. There's still some accessibility issues. You can do an MP3 version for text to speech. So electronic braille also. The Beeline reader, which I haven't used myself. I think this one, the Beeline one, has that one where you can make the speech go like super fast. So immersive reader, that one also includes like grammar formatting and translated version. So you can even translate the documents. So it's you know, there are ways to even if the original document is still an issue, you can download it. Because even if it is fully accessibly tagged, even if it has that, what if the student doesn't have like screen reading software, or you wanna use this option for alternative. Any questions on this? Now, I have not used it. I have not seen it used too often, but I know, if you do need these alternative formats, it is there. All right. So, main takeaways here. Step 1, not final step for accessibility. So you wanna, as you're creating the document, so as we when we opened up that document in Canva before we downloaded it, it was just plain. Everything was, instead of downloading it and then running the accessibility, and we did it from the start. So, and the thing, and if you don't have Acrobat, you can use the Canva PDF editor. It works just as well, and it's free.
Free version.
Yeah, you don't need Pro for that one. So, free PDF editor, and it actually has its own URL, so that way you don't even have to have. You just need to provide like an email for the free version. And so, Blackboard Alley, it's built in all your courses, every course in Blackboard. So take advantage of it. I know I've been getting a lot of faculty coming in and saying, I heard this thing about my course needs to be accessible, and what do I do? And it's you got to do it one by one, because it's like, okay, well, I uploaded all this content, I've had this here for years, and it's now it's not accessible, so they have to download everything, tag it, format it, whatever it gives them, and then re-upload it. So that's why, going back to this, it's very, very important that we do this from the start. And one thing to remember, accessibility is not about, just benefiting those that might have disabilities. It's benefiting everybody. It is, it's what makes learning truly equitable. It's not just because, sometimes depending, you may be like, oh, well, I never have colorblind issues, I don't have contrast issues, but you might be using a device at the time that might be having these issues, that might not be displaying colors regularly as it should. So having the high contrast, will help you as well. All right, so this is from Canva's website, a little more about their accessibility tools. This is the PDF editor that we just used to upload. This is some background on the accessibility checker in Ultra. It's from the Anthology Ultra website, and Triton's accessibility resource page. So, and I will send this to you both. All right, so we have 4 more minutes. So I'm gonna open it up to any questions, anything that you wanted me to address in more detail. Be happy to answer. Once again, if we haven't met, I'm Kristina Hansen. I'm over there, and we're at F210, so 2nd floor, F building. My extension is 3382, and when I send this to you, you can email me directly as well. So now, we also have, from this fall to next spring, we have accessibility open lab hours. And what that is if you need any accessibility materials to work on, we have Acrobat on our faculty computers. These are the dates that we will, the upcoming dates for October and November. And the full schedule, all the way up until April, I think, 2026 is in there. So usually it's the afternoons. We try to give Tuesday and Wednesday, because I know Tuesdays and Thursdays and Mondays and Wednesdays are kind of the same schedule for a lot of faculty. So that's why I kind of did the midweek thing, so that way everybody can find a time to come in. I will also, I think, I'm also, a couple weeks from now, I'm also going to be doing a virtual session on this exact thing. So, so any questions before we go? All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for coming. And, wish you luck. Make your courses accessible.
Yeah.